job. This is a cool deal, okay? And you guys, like I said, you got some sheets in there. This is going to be a little bit presentation workshop. But I think it's going to be really beneficial for you guys. So with that, here we go. Let's give him a round of applause to McConnell. All right, buddy.
Appreciate it. The score was tied 7-7. I'm a freshman cornerback going against the 21st ranked team in the nation. Like any freshman going into that week, I had similar thoughts of, this is my opportunity to prove myself. I worked hard for this moment. Go out there and make a play. Across from me, the receiver is getting set up and I'm repeating this thought over and over again. Make a play, make a play, make a play. The ball is snapped and all of a sudden my body goes tight. It feels heavy. I'm trying to keep up with this receiver who's running deep, but I cannot. The ball is thrown. Boom. Touchdown. 60 yards. Now my thoughts are racing. What happened? What happened? What happened? One bad play leads into the next. And before I know it, I had the worst game of my career. 3 touchdowns allowed, all over the distance of 50 yards. And after that game, I get benched. And now I enter this dark place where I'm asking these questions. What happened? This is your opportunity to prove yourself. You need to work harder. You need to make a play. And at that moment, I have never felt more lost. Now, can I ask you guys a question? How many of you here know somebody who is killer in practice? They have all the skills to perform at a high level, but the moment they step into the game, they cannot execute. Can I get a raise of hands? A good amount of you guys. Now, this person, they represent something that I think is important. It doesn't matter how much skills you have. It even doesn't matter how hard you work if you're not able to execute when it matters most. Meaning that when the pressure is on, are you able to stay loose? Are you able to control what's going on inside? Your thoughts, your emotions, your focus, so that you can perform at your best. And that is what today is going to really be about. Today is about mastering the inner game. Not so that you feel better, but so that you can perform at your best when it matters most, so that your hard work is recognized. And by the end of this presentation, each of you will have 4 tools, the same tools that elite athletes, professionals, and leaders all utilize so that they can step into flow on command. So, to begin, let me introduce myself. My name is McConnell LeBoy, and originally I'm from Hawaii. And if you would have asked me when I was in your shoes in high school if I would be standing before you today and conducting this workshop on flow and performance, I probably would have thought you were crazy. Up until that point, I was not able to access a flow state. And it wasn't until I got to Lewis and Clark College where I played football where I accessed flow for the first time. And from that moment, I became absolutely fascinated and obsessed with learning how I can access this state more frequently. I began to study some of the greatest athletes like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Tom Brady. And what I learned was that they each had specific practices that helped to prime their nervous systems to enter a flow state. And when I began to implement these practices into my own, I saw my performance absolutely skyrocket. I went on to become a 3-time all-conference corner, but maybe more importantly, I went on to become a 3-time team captain. You see, when you're able to step into presence, flow, not only are you able to perform better, but you're also able to lead from a grounded and present spot. So, I want to begin with going to this analogy, this illustration that I always like to use for my athletes. And I think it's a great example of how we enter and how we block ourselves from flow. And that is through a plant. Now, like a plant, we are both alive. And similar to a plant, we are also have 2 different parts of us. There's the part that the outside world can see. For the plant, it's the stem, it's the leaves, it's the buds. But also, there's a part which cannot be seen, the part that helps us grow, and that is the roots. When our roots are healthy, what our plant looks like to the outside world as athletes is a high level of performance. It is what I refer to as flow. Flow is defined as an optimal state of human consciousness where you are fully absorbed with the task at hand. And I want us to begin with a little activity together where I'm going to ask you guys what it feels like when your roots are most healthy. So to begin, I have this QR code. I hope you guys have your phones on you. But does everyone know? They don't have phones? Okay. Well, someone. Yeah, thank you. But essentially what we're going to be doing is a little activity, a word cloud. The activity is the question of, when you are performing at your best, what does it feel like internally? Feelings, sensations, thoughts. And you guys can enter, okay, we already have a lot. But I want you guys to enter as much options as you guys can think of. If you guys see something that's on there already, but you also feel it when you're performing at your best, just write it down. The word will get bigger. So when we're performing our best, we experience confidence. We're hyper. We're anxious. A tingling sensation. All right, we got about 30 more seconds. We're happy. It feels like we're flying. I love that. We got about 20 more seconds. Keep it going, keep it going. Calm. We have a lot of calm. Proud. Joy. 3, 2, 1. And that's time. Wow, we got a good bunch in there. Wow. Now, I like to do this activity because it gets everyone engaged, it gets everyone's blood going a little bit. But I want us to just take a moment and look at the list that we all created. We have words such as excited, calm. We have adrenaline, excitement, confidence, loose, quiet. I want us to all notice something now. That for most of these words, all of this we cannot feel without one common denominator, one common root. And what this is presence. We can't be calm, we can't be still, we can't be quiet, we can't be confident without also being present where we are. So this is the goal of the inner game. This is how we win the inner game, is we have to access presence. And some of the greatest athletes who I've studied are masters of this. They're not just great because of their ability to run, jump, but they're great because they're able to master their presence. And this is a great example of that with Michael Jordan.
Most people struggle to be present. People go and sit in ashrams for 20 years in India, trying to be present. Do yoga, meditate, trying to get here now. Most people live in fear because we project the past into the future. Michael's a mystic. He was never anywhere else. His gift was not that he could jump high, run fast, shoot a basketball. His gift was that. He was completely present. And that was the separator. Big downfall of a lot of players who are otherwise gifted is thinking about failure. Michael didn't allow what he couldn't control to get inside his head. He would say, why would I think about missing a shot I haven't taken yet?
What separates the good from the greats is not their athletic ability. It's their ability to access presence when they need it most. Now, let's look at the other side, the other end of the spectrum, when our roots are not healthy, when we are not performing at our best. If what we experience when our roots are healthy is flow, the other side of that is what I like to call blocked, when our flow is blocked. I want us to now do the same activity, but this time, the question is, when you're performing at your worst, what does it feel like internally, feeling sensations and thoughts? And it's the same thing, get in as much answers as you can. We got anxious already, stressed, nauseous, slow, too conscious, I love that. What are you feeling like when you're performing at your worst? Scared, foggy, hard to breathe, not good enough. Can't do anything right. We have about a minute left. Here we go. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we have words that do not feel as good. Disappointed, stressed, overthinking, overwhelmed, heavy, nervous, upset. And once again, like the other words, there's one common denominator. You can't experience disappointment, stress, feeling heavy without also experiencing not being present. Or what I like to refer to as or ego. Now, if presence is the goal of the inner game, the ego is the opponent that we face every single day when we wake up. When I say ego, I'm not talking about self-absorption. I'm not talking about selfishness. I'm talking about the literal definition of tying yourself to the world around you, tying yourself to whatever activity you're participating in. When you tie yourself to what you're doing, it is then that you're pulling yourself out of the present moment and looking towards the past, looking to the future, what you want, what happened to you before. In order for us to access presence, we first need to learn how to let go of the ego. I want us to now to reflect on what is blocking you. If you look at number 2 on your worksheet on the front, I asked this question: what is blocking you? What is blocking you from your ability to access the present moment, from your ability to access flow? Now, this could be something going on in your sport. It could be something going on in school, maybe back home. It's not something that you need to share with me or anyone else around you. I want it to be something extremely personal to you, real to you, because that is where you'll find value in this exercise. So just take a moment to reflect on what is blocking you now. Now you guys can continue writing. But in order for our plant to flourish, to be in flow, we first must know what is blocking it. Now, there are certain ways that our ego can take us out of our presence, and I call this the 3 patterns. The 3 patterns that the ego hijacks first begins with our state. These are the sensations we feel in our body or mind. Next is our concentration. This is what we are focused on. This is what we're paying our attention to in this moment. And finally, our beliefs. These are the stories that we're telling ourselves about what's going on in this moment. Now, once again, on the front, number 1, I have a question for you guys. And I want you guys to go one by one. When you guys are experiencing this blocker, what is the state that you guys enter into? Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it is feeling pressure, a knot in your stomach. But just write down some things that come up when you guys experience this blocker when it comes to your state. And after you guys have some stuff down there, now, what are you guys concentrating on? What are maybe the fears? Maybe you're concentrated on the past, something that happened in the past. Maybe you're concentrated on something you're expecting in the future. What are you directing your concentration on when you're facing this blocker? Take some time, reflect on it, and write down what comes up. And finally, what are the beliefs you're holding when it comes to this blocker? What is the story you're telling yourself? Maybe it's a story of you're not worthy, you're not enough, you need to prove yourself. But what is the story you're telling yourself when it comes to facing this blocker? Now, the 4 tools that I'm going to introduce to you guys directly attacks each one of these patterns. So we're going to start with number 1, the state. Now, I like to describe our state as the sunlight. It's the energy that we feel, the sensations that we experience. So when we're in a negative state, when we are not present, oftentimes the states that we can go into is things like stress, anxiety, pressure. These states directly take us out of the present moment through driving us and driving our thoughts into what happened before or what is going to happen in the future. We can't experience pressure without looking forward, what is coming. We can't experience anxiety without reflecting what happened to us before and then projecting it into the future. So, how can we change our state from that of which is looking forward or looking back into one that is present right here and right now. The first tool, the first practice that I'm gonna pass on to you guys is gratitude. Now, gratitude is extremely simple, but it's also extremely powerful. And there's a lot of science behind this, but I'm gonna make it extremely simple for you guys that you cannot experience gratitude without also experiencing the joy and the love for the things you have in this moment. One of the perfect examples of this is through Steph Curry. Now, who here has watched Steph Curry play? Almost everyone in the room, okay. Now, if I were to ask you guys, what are some traits about Steph Curry's game? How does he play the game? What are some things, and you guys can just yell some stuff out. Excited, yeah. Anything else? When Steph Curry's playing the game of basketball, what does he portray? Confident. I love that. Now, all of these things, the joy, the confidence, the excitement that he plays with, is not by accident. All of it is on purpose. Steph has often talked about his gratitude practice, how he implements it before every game and before every day to help him access joy and love for the present moment and whatever he is doing. And this is a quote that I think portrays that perfectly. He said this after one of his playoff games. "I'm out there having fun. I'm doing what I love to do." When we access gratitude, we see the love and joy that we have that surrounds us, no matter what we are going through. So, for our first practice, we're gonna begin right here, right now. And if you turn your worksheet over, I have a question. What are the 5 things that you are grateful for right now? Maybe it has something to do with family, with school, with being able to play the sport, your friends. But what are 5 things you're grateful for? And as you write down each one, I want you to just take a moment and feel the joy, the gratitude, the love that you have for whatever you write down. So that is how we attack the first pattern that our ego can hijack. We can utilize gratitude to take us out of the past, out of the future, and bring us back into the joy and the love that we can experience here in the present moment. So let's move on to number 2, concentration. Now, if our state is like the sun, concentration I like to describe as the fuel for our plant, the water, the fertilizer. And I like to use this common saying that goes like this: where our concentration goes, our energy flows. Who here has snowboarded or skied before, or who does it often? Okay, a good amount of you guys. Awesome. Now, I just recently started snowboarding, and I'm just reaching the point now where I'm good enough to go into the backcountry a little bit, go through the trees. And I want to ask you guys, for those of you who have snowboarded or skied, do any of you guys know the first rule that they tell you when you're snowboarding through trees? Well, I learned it recently, and it's simply, do not look at the trees. The reason why is because wherever you look on your snowboard or ski, that is where you go. That is where your energy is flowing. And so it's kind of similar when it comes to our life. There are trees that we can often concentrate on, and it can lead us into the wrong direction. So I want to ask you guys, what are the trees blocking you from flow? And I have 3 listed here that I found common with the athletes I work with. The first being fear. Oftentimes we can concentrate on the fear that we experience in the present moment. Next is expectations, the goals that we have. Although the goals that we have are great when it comes to training, oftentimes when it comes to performance, to us stepping into the game, these goals, these expectations are pulling us into the future rather than being in the present moment. And finally, the last tree that we can concentrate on that takes us out of our presence is judgments. Judgments about our own play. Judgments about ourselves, maybe our teammates, maybe our coaches. When we judge others, when we judge ourselves, we are now pulling ourselves out of the present moment and into the past. What happened? Now the question is, how do we let go of these? How do we stop concentrating on these trees? And a simple tool that I began to implement and that I learned through different science research is acceptance. Now, once again, acceptance is very simple, but it's actually extremely hard to practice. What acceptance looks like is not trying to change the circumstance. It's not trying to make it anything different than what it is. It's simply allowing it to be as it is, acknowledging it, and allowing it and accepting it and moving forward. Now, once again, I want you guys to come back to what is blocking you. And for number 4, I want us to simply see if we can practice acceptance for this blocker, allowing it to be without feeling the need to change it, trying to make it anything different than what it is, but just simply accept it. And when you do this, I want you to write down what comes up. What maybe sensations do you feel? Maybe it's a looseness, maybe it's freeing, maybe it's nothing. But whatever comes up, when you are able to just simply accept your blocker, write it down here. Now, once we are able to accept the trees as they are, without trying to cut them down, without trying to change them into anything else, it is then that we can redirect our concentration onto what matters, the snowy patches in the middle. For us, that means presence. The way that we can do this, the tool, the practice that we can begin to implement, is what I call concentration of breath. Now, our breath is our life force. It's the first thing you have when you come into this world, and it's the last thing you have when you leave it. When we concentrate on our breath, we are reminding ourselves that we are alive, that we are here now. Now, breathing practice can be as complex as a full-on meditation, concentrating on the fullness of our breath, but there are also breathing practices that are very simple that I'm going to share with you guys today. The first being the 4x4 box breathing. And it goes a little something like this. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. I want us to all do that together for 1 round, all right? Here you go. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. When we are able to practice our box breathing, we can now redirect our concentration back into the presence. And the last one I have for you guys is the physiological sigh. Now, research has shown that this is one of the quickest and most efficient ways to come back to the present moment. And it's as simple as this. You breathe fully in through the nose, 1 light gasp of air, breathe fully through the mouth with a sigh. And once again, I'm gonna have us all do that 1 time together, all right? Breathe fully in through the nose, 1 last gasp of air, breathe out through the mouth with a sigh. When we are able to come back to our breath, we're coming back to our life force. We're reminding ourselves that we are here, that we are present. That's how we redirect our concentration back into the present moment. So once again, we have gratitude to help to attack our state. We have acceptance and concentration of our breath to redirect our concentration off of the past, off of the future, and back into the present moment. Now finally, belief. Now belief, I like to describe as a soil. It's the foundation for our plant. And the simple thing I like to teach is that beliefs are either limits or limitless. I think a great example of this, to demonstrate it, is through our childhood. Now, I want you to go back to when you first fell in love with the game that you play. Maybe you were a kid, maybe you were playing it at recess, maybe you had a coach that you absolutely loved growing up. Whatever it is, go back to that moment. And I want you to think about your beliefs at that time. What were they based upon? A lot of times when we're kids, they're based upon having fun. We enjoy what we do. Love, we love the game. And they're all built on the foundation of curiosity. We're curious about the game, curious about how we can grow in it. But as we get older, we enter high school, we develop an ego, and now we have certain expectations and standards that we want to perform at. We lose this curiosity. And what replaces it is what the ego clings onto: pressure, anxiety, survival. We are trying to protect ourselves. The ego is trying to protect us. And in the process, we limit our beliefs down into only one option: survival. Now, a great example of a limitless belief is through the breaking of the 4-minute mile. Now, does anyone here know this story? breaking the 4-minute mile? I see one. Awesome. Well, I want everyone to pay attention to this because I think it's a story that can really change your life. Now, for most of human history, they believed it was impossible to run a sub 4-minute mile. You had scientists who said it was impossible, doctors who said your heart could explode, coaches who believed your body would break down if you attempted to do so. Because of this, most people didn't attempt it. And those who did were limited because they had this fear that they entered it with. That all changed in 1953 with a guy by the name of Roger Bannister, as he took on a new belief. Rather than approaching this feat with fear, he approached it with curiosity. And when he did this, he landed on this belief: humans are able to do the impossible. And his purpose became to run a sub 4-minute mile. The next year, in 1954, he did it. He ran a 3-minute, 59-second mile. Now, reporters at the time said it will never be done again. And for anyone who runs in here, you guys might know it has been done many, many times, thousands and thousands of times. But the crazy thing is this: that year alone, 3 more runners ran a sub 4-minute mile. In fact, 46 days later, someone beat Roger Bannister's record. So what changed? Was it the shoes, as Nike says? Was it what they were eating? Was it the training? The answer is no. The only thing that changed was the belief for what humans were able to do. That is the power of limiting and limitless beliefs. So, how do we take our limiting beliefs and turn them into something that is limitless? Well, the practice, the tool I want to pass on to you guys is what is known as the beginner's mind. It's simply coming back to this childlike curiosity that I talked about before. Now, I think the best way to explain the beginner's mind is through a Zen Buddhist monk quote that goes a little something like this: in the mind of the beginner, there are infinite possibilities, but in the mind of the expert, there are only one. As we develop an ego, as we grow up, we start to think that we are experts in what we're doing. In the process, we limit the possibilities that we can see. But the world has infinite possibilities. We do not know the answers. So, if we are able to approach what we're doing, if we're able to approach our beliefs through the eyes of the beginner, we too can become limitless. So once again, I want to come back to this. What is blocking you? I want you to reflect on it and just take a moment, come back to your presence, and I want you to open yourself up. See if you can look at it through the eyes of a beginner. What are other possibilities for how you can approach this? What are new approaches for how you can attack this blocker that is blocking you from flow? And if anything comes up, write it down here. As you guys are finishing up, those are the 3 patterns that our ego can hijack to take us out of our presence. We have our state, we have concentration, and we have beliefs. And now we have 4 tools that can help to counter this. We can utilize gratitude to change our state from one that's going into the past, going into the future, and back into the present moment. We can redirect our concentration through accepting what is present, and then bringing it back to the present moment through concentration of our breath. And then finally, we can change our limiting beliefs into limitless beliefs through the beginner's mind, in turn also making ourselves limitless. And as I start to wrap up a little bit, I want to land on this, that every single one of you guys in this room is a leader. You guys are leaders on your team. You guys are leaders in your school, leaders in your community. And the thing about being a leader is you're also an example. So if you are able to step forward in presence, in flow, not only are you going to be able to open yourself for flow and see your own performance get better, but you also open the door for everyone else around you. What comes out of this is what is known as group flow. When a whole unit, organization is in flow together. There is nothing more powerful. You see it with the best teams, organizations in the world. And I want us to do an activity now that's going to require some movement. So if I can have you guys stand up, and we're going to start to lift up this slide right now, and you guys can all join me on the stage. We're gonna get a little bit of movement here now, get some blood flowing. Okay, we can have more people come up. Move forward, don't worry, I won't bite. Come forward. Sweet. And when you find a good space around the people, where you have space between the people around you, you can all just take a seat. We'll all start sitting down. All right, so my goal for this activity is I'm hoping that we all can experience group flow right now. Like I said, I've never done it with this many people, so this is an experiment for me just as much as it is for you guys. But what this is called it's called a group walk. So essentially, all of you guys are seated down right now. As one unit, as one group, you're all gonna rise together. Once you guys rise, you guys are now gonna slowly start to walk. You guys are gonna go from a walk into a slow jog, back into a walk, all as one unit, one collective. You guys are gonna stop, and you guys are gonna go back to seated, all as one. All right, and I know we got some safety hazards here, so let's try to keep it away from this edge here. But before we begin, is there any questions? Oh, one last rule, there's no talking. Not a sound. It's all about concentration. It's all about being present with each other. All right? That's the hardest part about this. Any other questions? None? All right, let's try it out. We'll see if it works. Okay, freeze. Okay, so if you guys see, we have some people still working their way up, and we have people standing already. Now, like I said, all you guys have to be one unit, one creature doing this together. So what this might require is you guys going slower, focusing on everyone around you. All right? Now let's reset, let's get seated again. Let's try it one more time. Now pay attention to everyone around you guys. Take it slow if you guys need to. All right? Begin. It's on you guys. Into a slow jog. Back into a walk. All right, that was not bad. Good job, guys. Now, what did you guys experience? Was there any sensations? Was there anything that you guys noticed with this activity?
I felt in my flow.
You felt in your flow? All right, there you go. Did you feel in your flow maybe, was it just a personal thing or was it because other people around you?
No, I felt like it was a group.
Nice, I love that. So you could feel like you're in your flow when other people are also in their flow.
Yeah.
Love it. Anybody else? Right here.
I felt like I had to focus on the flow of me, so I wasn't thinking about what I was doing, more like us collectively as a group.
You had to concentrate on others, and in the process, you almost forgot about yourself. Maybe that's why you experienced flow. That's awesome. I think the main thing that I was hoping you guys can take away with this is that when one person decides to enter flow, I mean, it started with one person deciding they're going to stand up, and everyone else around them is present. There's a flow that can happen. There's a group flow that is extremely powerful. There's a lot of energy moving. I don't know if you guys felt it, but I felt it over here. The stage was starting to wobble with all you guys moving at the same time. And when you guys are able to do this, not only you are you able to make a difference, but you as a collective on whatever teams you're a part of, whatever community you're a part of, can also make a lot of powerful change. So I appreciate you guys participating in this activity. It was fun for me to watch this many people do it. But yeah, we can all take a seat. I'll wrap up the workshop. Now, to close, I'm going to end with a quote that I like to end every coaching call, every presentation, every workshop with. And it's a quote by Lao Tzu that I absolutely love. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. So that is it. 4 simple tools to help you redirect your concentration off of the past, off of the future, and back into the present moment. 4 simple tools to help you access flow on command in your sport, but also in life. And I hope there is something that you guys walk away with. That flow, that presence, isn't about doing anything. It's not about proving anything outside of yourself, but it's simply about letting go of what is blocking your light from shining. Because each and every one of you has a unique and special light to bring to this world. It's one that isn't earned. It's not going to be found in wins, losses, stats, accolades, scholarships, championships. It's already right here. And when you guys let go, when you guys are just simply present and tapped into your being, is then where you allow this light to shine. And it's there where you guys are powerful. And maybe it's there where you can lead others to do the same. So I am just extremely grateful for it because, like I said, I don't just see you guys as leaders on your teams, in your schools, in your communities, but I see you guys as future leaders of this world. And to be just a part of your story today means everything. So I hope today you make the choice to begin your own presence training, because I know from my experience that was the best choice I ever made. Because not only was I able to perform on the football field, but I was able to fully experience my life. I was able to be here for all of it. Because realistically, life is going to throw you a lot of curveballs. And no matter what comes your way, if you're able to stay present, if you're able to tap into your being, once again, it's there where you're able to find flow. So I hope you guys move forward. I hope you guys come back to your center, come back to your grounding. That is what I have for today. And if you guys are interested in any future opportunities to discuss flow, to discuss performance and presence, I'll be honored to help. That is it. My name is Makana Laboy. Thank you all, and aloha.